Friday, September 23rd, 2016. Maneko 64 here, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. I like to talk about how to be a contrarian and put that together with the monetary system and how I worked out how our monetary system is completely fraudulent and is not sustainable. And I worked that out back in around 2002, 2003, I think. That was about when the time I started questioning it. I'd already bought into gold as an investment. I bought some Krugerrands, I think in around 2002, some coins. And they were about, at that time, 1 ounce was 220 pounds. Right now, they're like over 1,000 pounds. So that's a different story. The reason why I question things, I don't know why it is that's the way I am, but as some of you know, and maybe some of you might not know, I used to work in the city of London for over 20 years, which is the equivalent of Wall Street in the US. I was a futures and options broker, and at the time I was working for ABN AMRO Bank, the Dutch bank, in their futures department, and I went out to get my lunch, and I was walking back to the office, walking up Bishopsgate, for those of you who know the city, and I was putting my money back in my wallet, and for some reason I took one of these out, and I stopped, and I looked at it, and I read, Bank of England, right here, Most people don't read it, they just take the money and spend it, and then I read that, and it says at the bottom, I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of 20 pounds. And I thought, wow, that's like a promise. It's a promissory note. And I thought to myself, why have they kept that there? Back when the UK or England was on the gold standard before the start of World War I in 1914, you could have taken this to the bank or the Bank of England and asked for 20 of these, which a gold sovereign is £1 legally. But nowadays you can't. So I got back to the office, and I actually looked up the phone number for the Bank of England, and I called their press office and asked to speak to someone about the Bank of England note. And someone spoke to someone, very polite person, and I asked, why do you have this promise on your banknotes? If you're, that used to be for when you used to redeem the notes for gold coins. And they said, no, that actually means, they said, and I quote, that actually means that if your note gets damaged, you bring it back to us and we'll give you a new 20-pound note. And I said, so why don't you say that on the note? Why don't you say you can get a new one if your old one gets damaged? Why have you left that I promise to pay the sum, the bearer on demand, the sum of 20 pounds? And I said, oh, no, this is, so you can bring it back and we'll give you another 20-pound note. And I didn't want to argue with the person, so I said, thank you very much. And then I started looking into it, and I thought, wow, they're hiding this, in plain sight. And I've looked at Psychology Today website, and it talks about crime hiding in plain sight. So, and I'm reading here about Elmer Edward Solly, and it says, after escaping from prison, Solly, convicted of murdering his girlfriend's toddler son, boldly assumed the identity of the deceased lead singer of rock band Sha Na Na. And it says here, and I quote, when people are that narcissistic, they tend to be very confident in themselves, speculates Catherine Ramsland, a forensic psychologist at DeSales University. And then she goes on to say, that kind of confidence is what others never question. So there you have it. Bank of England is a criminal, narcissistic institution. And why do they hide in plain sight? Well, because they're, it's explained here, psychologically, when people or institutions are that confident to, put that in plain sight and hide in plain sight, people don't question it. I guess I did. And one thing that's interesting, though, I've got a £5 note from 1951, Bank of England note, and I'll show it to you. I'll take it off the plastic. So as you can see, it's a lot bigger, and it says, "I promise to pay the bearer the sum on demand of £5." And actually, that promise is the biggest part of the note. As you can see now, nowadays, that promise is probably the smallest part of the note. You can't even see it, and the notes are shrinking. So it's interesting that the other day one of my friends had a plastic £5 note, which is a new note they're bringing out, made out of plastic, and it's even smaller than the current or old £5 note. And I checked it. I said, "Oh, can I have a look at it?" And the promise is still there, but it's microscopic. So it looks like the Bank of England is maybe losing confidence. They're having to shrink their notes and make that promise even smaller, but they're still hiding in plain sight. I guess the next step for them, and that means they've lost complete confidence, in their fraudulent activity of, printing money backed by nothing. The next step, when they lose complete confidence, is if they ban cash, because then you won't be able to see that. It's only going to be an electronic entry. And so there you have it. And those are the things, the reason why I guess people think I'm contrarian, because I question things that don't make sense. The other reason I've always been fascinated by money, it's just something, when I was a little boy, I remember my grandfather giving me some money when I used to come and, for lunch on a Sunday to his house. And he didn't give any of the other grandchildren any money, but I was his favorite for some reason. And he didn't give me much money, but I was always fascinated. That piece of paper gave me a bit of power. I could go to the shop and buy some sweets. And so I was always interested in money, and that's how I've come to talk about this. I went further, started reading about it, and about the gold standard, the monetary system. So there you have it. Bank of England hiding in plain sight, but they're losing confidence. They're, like Elmer Edward Sully, they're pretending, their banknotes are pretending to be something that they're not. Basically a promissory note that will pay you in, real money. But people, I think they're losing confidence. Their notes are shrinking, and the promise is getting illegible. So it looks like that's it. That's what I wanted to talk about. Hiding in plain sight, being the contrarian. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, share it. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. And if you'd like to donate to my channel, that would be welcome. I've got a few links below in the description. You can donate in Bitcoin, Ethereum, or through PayPal and Patreon. Thanks for watching.